And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Schoten. This is a German trick-taking game from Zach, although there's rules in English in the box. Very easy to understand. What is a trick-taking game? If you're not sure what one of those is, a trick-taking game is where you play cards of a color. Each other player has to play cards of the same color unless they don't have them. There's things called trump and things like that. This one is pretty straightforward if you already know how to play a game like hearts or spades. This one will make sense, but it has a very intriguing thing, especially since the backs of the cards are different. Now in this game, there's a deck of cards that are numbered from 1 to 12. Those cards are 4 different suits that are differentiated by colors and by a different kind of food. At the beginning of the game, you're going to deal out cards to each player. So you're playing 3 or 4 players. The leftover cards are placed in the middle like this. You're then going to take 4 color cards and you're going to shuffle 12 number cards. And you're going to place a number card on each of these. Alright, so here we have 9, 8. So then we're going to put them in order. So red is the best color, then yellow, then black, then green. Also, these particular cards are now super trumps. A red 9, the yellow 8, the black 4, and the green 3. So I'm going to look at my hand here and see what I got. Do I have any of those? Ooh, I have the yellow 8. And, ooh, the black 4. So this is a pretty good hand. Each player, then, is going to secretly take 4 chips in their hand, and they're going to pick these chips. Some of them, they're going to pick 2 chips. One, this is the color I think I'm going to take the most of, and this is the color I think I'm going to take the least of. You can, flip them to either side. And then you put those in front of yourselves. Then, one player goes first. Now, on a player's turn, that player the first player plays any card that they want down in front of them. Now, one thing you should notice is everyone can see what colors you have. They don't know what numbers you have, but they certainly see what colors you have. Once somebody plays this card, each other player must play a card of the same color. So we go around the table. If you don't have a card of that color, you can play any color you like from your hand. Then, whoever plays the highest number in the highest color will win that trick. So the 12 would win here. Unless, of course, one of the super trumps is played. So let's say the 8 yellow had been played, that would automatically win. The only thing that can beat the 8 yellow is the 9 red. So let's say someone leads off with black, someone else plays black, then the last 2 players play yellow. In this case, even though we started with black, these guys didn't have black, so they played yellows. Yellow is higher than black, so the highest yellow card would win it, and they would take the cards in front of themselves. Now when you take cards, you put them face down like this, because the numbers don't matter. You're trying to get a certain number of cards. Also, whenever one wins a trick, they will take one card of their choice from the middle of the table, unless they're all gone, in which case they don't get any cards. After all the tricks are done, each player is going to check and see if they were right with their predictions. If they were correct with their predictions, they get 5 points. Now, that's only if it's the most. Let's say I took 4 black cards, and I also took 4 yellow cards. So let's tie for the most. I only get 3 points then. But if I have more black cards than any other card, and I put this down, I'll get 5 points. And if I said I wanted the fewest green cards, and let's say I got 0 green cards, but I also got 0 yellow cards, so that's only 3 points for me. Now, if I get them both correct, which is great. Let's say I had 5 black cards and no green cards. So I get 5 points for this one, I get 5 points for this one, and then I also get the difference between them. So that's 5 minus 0, that's 5 more points. You then start another round and you keep going. After you've played 1 round per player, whoever has the most points, which you'd write down somewhere else, is the winner of the game. This is a very good trick-taking game. I was very happy with how this one played out. There's a lot of things I liked. I like the idea of seeing the back of other players' cards. It's especially good for new people when they're playing the game because I can teach them a trick-taking game and say, you have to play red. You have a red, because I know what colors they have. I don't know what numbers they have. The super trumps are cool. They're probably not all in the game. Remember, you take some cards out in the middle, so some of the super trumps aren't even out. They'll be probably face down. But just when you have a super trump, you're like, ooh, but what cards are you going to win? So you might be trying to get the most green, and so 2 greens are led, and then if someone throws a red out, and you could win it with a red because you want green cards, but you picked red as your fewest cards you're going to get. So that makes an interesting play on what cards you will play during the course of the game. But it's pretty simple other than that. You're trying to just get cards of one color and not cards of another. But as I played each game, that whole idea of I need to win a trick early, because the earlier you win a trick, you can get more cards in the middle of what you want, and you'll probably get the colors you want. And I said I'm going to get the most yellows. I have a 12 yellow. That means I'll probably get the most yellows. You can hope. You have to look at everyone else's hands. This actually turned out to be much more of a thinky game than I thought, because each time before I pick the most and the least, I'm looking around everyone else. Okay, they have that, because if you get both of those correct, that's like jackpot, because it gives you the most points, and that's what you want. So I was very pleased. It also plays fairly quickly, even though there's, like I said, a thinky part there. Once you start playing the game and it offers good decisions, if we were playing with 4 players, at most it's 4 rounds and most points wins. The components are fine because they have different symbols in the back. If you're colorblind, you can differentiate between red and green. I like how the super trumps change each round. It's pretty easy to get out and get going. This is a very good trick-taking game. I've played many of them, and I would say this is certainly one of the best. Dice Tower Judgment, excellent.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!